Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Metabolic podcast. Now, today I'm joined by my very special guest, Jordan. Jordan is a tradie, an apprentice electrician down in Melbourne, who has found the carnivore lifestyle, and it has changed his life for the better. And he wants to spread the word to other tradies and, of course, everybody else about the carnivore diet and to get them to try and improve their health. So, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on the show this evening.
Thank you for having me on, Suresh. It's an absolute privilege, and I'm really looking forward to having a good chat about the trade industry and the way forward, which I hope is I can have a positive influence on the industry by the time I'm done. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Oh, you're very welcome. Look, the pleasure is all mine. I was keen to get you on the show to get your story. And I think, as I mentioned, I got a lot of like tradie patients who do kind of, put off their health. And they talk about, it's difficult for them on site and they don't kind of believe that they can actually be healthy, which is a real challenge. So I wanted to get you on the show so I can show them, like, listen to this guy. He's doing it. He's literally doing it. Maybe Jordan, if you can give us a bit of your background, a bit about yourself, your health story, how you got into carnivore diet, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, not a problem. So I've been growing up, I've always had, I think, an issue with food. But I've always been naturally pretty genetically fit, I think. So I've been lucky there. And growing up, sugar was energy. So there was always access to sugar. It was always a day-to-day thing for me. But I think it's developed me into having a sweet tooth later on in life and struggles with moderation and things like that, and having a really warped idea on nutrition and feeling full and these sorts of things. And what really kicked off for me was about 6 months ago, after a couple of years of trying a calorie deficit and counting calories and things like that. It didn't really work for me at all. I really struggled with maintaining that. And then if I blew the calorie budget, I would feel guilt and shame, and I was never full, and I was eating non-nutritious foods and still eating lots of sweet stuff. So really failed with that, didn't really find a happy medium. And then about 6 months ago, I thought, I'm going to get back into the gym now, but what does my diet look like? So I was like, really just doing some research about, is there another way other than calorie deficit? Because if you go on social media, calorie deficit is the only way to go, apparently. And it didn't work for me. So I did stumble across a few podcasts, and carnivore was something that took me by surprise, just because I think I have a decent appetite and I like eating a lot of food. And if someone said to me, you can eat as much as you like until you're full, that really appealed to me. And then ever since then, it was just podcast after podcast after podcast after video and research, and then looking into how we're biologically designed to operate, and what food is fuel, and how we're meant to, how our body reacts well to certain things. And then the whole rabbit hole of what we've been taught. Is it truthful? Is it lies? Is it about money? Is it about health? Like all these sorts of things. And I came to the conclusion I'm going to give it a go, and saw great results. And the results have just continued to progress over time. And they've gone from initial physical changes to mental changes. And now I'm really just wanting to make a difference in where I am, spend half of my life, which is at work. And I think people could really benefit from something like this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly do spend a lot of our time at work. Half our life is probably it's probably about right. Some of us more than that, maybe.
Yeah, it is.
So you've been doing carnivore for like 6 months now, then?
Yeah, about 6 months. Yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned counting calories, and that's what kind of social media was telling you to do. Was that to lose weight? Was that to get healthy? Like, what was that for? What were you trying to achieve?
To my knowledge, that was the only viable option if you wanted to lose weight. And anyone I spoke to in the health and fitness industry online or Even my social groups, friends, adults, personal trainers, nutritionists, all these people are just promoting moderation. You can eat what you like as long as you're calories in, calories out. So I was really, really confused by that. And then now I'm gone down such a rabbit hole with carnivore. It makes me realize people are pretty much putting a number on food and it has the same impact to our bodies. It's like, how can that be true at all? Like, so
Yep.
yeah, I didn't have a good result with it. I made slow progress, but I really struggled with. I just thought there's no way I can maintain this in my whole life, counting calories and fueling a sugar addiction, and yeah, not feeling full. I just didn't. I just thought there must be another way, and I might be ignorant, but I think I've found something that serves me. So,
Well, I think that's really an important point. Is something that works for you. Like at the end of the day, that is actually really, really important. And it doesn't matter, and I say this to patients, it doesn't matter what works for me, what works for like Anthony Chafee and Ken Berry and Baker and Saladino and all these other people. Like it doesn't matter what works for the patient before you, the patient after you. It's what works for you as an individual. That's actually really what actually matters. So yeah, it's kind of sad really that the messaging out there is really just, well, calories in, calories out. That's like the only thing you can do.
yeah,
And I did a video recently on calories in, calories out. And it kind of still does matter a little bit, but it's just so poorly understood and, just almost abused because it's kind of so incorrect almost that it's just pointless for most people.
I just can't. When I think about it, I just can't have a conversation with people that promote it in the sense that there's no other factors that go into it other than the number. Like really, like surely we've at least realised that there's other factors involved here at play. We can't just spend our whole life worrying about numbers. Because we're not going to have positive health outcomes if the food's not nutritious. And then I felt like I was engaging in like a unhealthy eating habit, like tracking what I'm eating, having days where I knew I was over the budget. Like it just seems like a warped idea to eat for me. It didn't work for me, but it does work for other people, which is great. But I suppose any calculated decision about diet is great, right? It's a step in the right direction. And I think I found something that serves me over that. And yeah, it is what it is. I hope people have success with either.
I think that's very, very wise words. But yeah, I think it is kind of crazy that we kind of look at this system of calories where we're like, okay, well, a can of Coke is like the same calories as a steak. We're like, oh, that's the same. Yeah. It's like, no, it's not the same. It's like, no, they are totally different things. Yeah. And it's like, oh, like,
exactly. I'm glad.
like a chocolate bar is like the same as a piece of liver. Like, no, it's not. It's not the same. It's an absolutely crazy.
That's what I'm.
Carry on. Go ahead.
That's what I really struggled with. When I see most of the people online talking about calories in, calories out. It's they're not really touching on the important things. Like all of a sudden, the nutrition of the food goes out the window and it's irrelevant. It's like our bodies aren't worried about calories. Like in my opinion, if you feed it the right foods, it's going to repay you with the right health.
Pretty much.
And I just can't relate to it. It didn't work for me. And yeah, I think you definitely, if you're going to go down that route, I think you definitely should be looking into the nutritional value, because a lot of the low calorie options have actually had all the nutrition taken out of them.
Yep.
So, and then additives added back in, like low fat sour cream. Everything's low fat this, low fat that, save calories. It's like, I don't know. For me, it doesn't make sense. But
no, I mean, it's like a huge con. I mean, you see, like, only 30 calories. And it's like, yeah, but it's got 30 ingredients. Oh, don't worry about that. But it's only 30 calories. It's like, that's the selling point. I mean, the sad thing
Yeah.
is, and we were talking a little bit, off air before we started, that a lot of people that they're not ready for that change though. That they're in that calorie mindset of
Mm,
all I need to do is just reduce my
mm,
calories and I'll be healthy. Because
mm,
that is the
mm,
messaging, that we're giving people.
mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so so you noticed, you said kind of physical and mental health changes, and I do want to come back to mental
Mm.
health. But let's maybe start with kind of physical benefits that you saw first of all, Jordan, if we could.
So from the start, initially, the first thing I noticed was I lost weight off my face, which has never happened before in my life. And I've done calories in, calories out for a long time, and lost weight. I've never lost weight around the face. I'm not sure what that is. I haven't really looked into it, but that was one change I noticed straight away. Um, and overall general weight loss. Um, and muscle gain, I would say, or lean muscle mass gain. And yeah, other physical changes, I think my sleep definitely has improved. My energy levels have improved. And I can go to sleep for a shorter amount of time and wake up feeling better. And another physical change is definitely the sugar cravings. Never thought it was possible to not want to crave sugar when I've been around it my whole life. And that's definitely a change that I've noticed that has completely eradicated itself. I think about it all the time, but only because I demonize it. I'm not actually interested in consuming it. And I feel so much better after that. More specifically with work, I'd say joint pain, muscle pain, things like that have all definitely improved. And I'm not sure if that's in relation to, I'd say that's definitely in relation to the ingredients that I'm leaving out of my diet. So the pain is definitely gotten better in like knees and wrists and back, things like that. That's definitely improved. Um, Other than that, yeah, that's probably it for physical benefits as of yet, but I'm sure there'll be more going on down the track.
Yeah, I mean that's enough. Weight loss, just less pain, less joint pain, less back
Yeah.
pain, better sleep, losing weight in the face, just less tired, less fatigued, just more energy. And I think the big one
Mm,
there, and I've mentioned it so many times, so many other people on this show, and of course across the internet, this just kind of breaking free of the sugar addiction, the hold that it has on us.
yeah. Yep. And I think people are, I can't think of the word, but I think people are sort of avoidant of it. And until you realize it, like if you give up sugar for a few days, you'll start having withdrawal symptoms.
Mm.
I think then you will actually realize that you are hooked on sugar, and it's no one's fault. It's just society, the way we've gone, the route that society's taken. More than likely for money, just so we can sell more products for big food companies.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting you say that. I mean, I had a conversation with Melanie Walters who's a low carb dietitian, and we were talking about this thing from the Washington Post. I can't actually screen share it now, unfortunately. Basically exposing this industry of dietitian influencers actually being paid by the sugar companies, Canadian Sugar Institute and the American Beverage, who kind of represent like Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and so on, paying them to
Mm,
just promote sugar, promote sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, and then them like not really properly actually disclosing those paid partnerships, those sponsorships, which of course is a little bit of an issue,
that's terrible, and I'm actually not surprised one bit. Like you hear about this stuff all the time. If you're
No,
actually interested in the industry, you do hear about this all the time, and it's no surprise that money is the driving factor in all of this,
it's
and it
not a
has worked.
surprise.
Like everyone is
Yeah.
eating more sugar than we've ever eaten in evolution. So it's working and it's selling. That's the main thing.
That's it. I mean, I can't remember the exact statistic, but it's something like kids nowadays, they eat in a week, the amount of sugar they used to eat in a year. And that
That's
that's
unreal.
just such a it is. It's absolutely insane. But I believe this because I won't name the person because they'll probably sue me and I don't want that. But, kind of one of Australia's biggest dietitians, kind of regularly posting their stuff on their Facebook and Instagram, just all this kind of like just sugary garbage snacks in like the shopping basket. And it's like, really?
Like, yeah, is it even actually food?
It's not.
Like, is this stuff even, is it actually food for humans? No, it's not. It's designed
Yep.
to trigger your taste buds and send signals to your brain and make you be a repeat buyer. That's what it is.
That
It's designed to sell. It's not designed to heal.
Exactly. It's not designed for actual food. It's not designed for nutrition. And the example I always quote is, slightly outdated now, but the old Pringles advert, once you pop, you can't stop. Quite literally just, advertising, hey, look, we'll make you addicted to our food. This is a really good thing. And people are like, oh,
that's what everyone's trying
funny.
to do. Like,
Yeah. But people are like, oh, this is so funny. This is so cool because I can't stop eating them. Like, that's a good thing. Like, no, it's not. I don't know. It's crazy.
yeah,
Mental
it's
health.
really not.
Because this is an issue with mental health is an issue with. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say when you realize that all these products in a packet are virtually designed by scientists to get the right response to make us rebuy, it really, you don't have to think far to realize that this isn't designed for humans at all or health. That is not the priority.
No, it's money and it's profit, and it's called the bliss point, and just manufacturing things to just be as addictive as possible is We've obviously got a bit of a time delay, so apologies about earlier, but I want to talk a little bit about mental health, if we could, there, Jordan, because mental health is a concern with tradies, and and I often the way I drive my kids to school, I do pass there's a tradie that's always parked up near the school that's all over the side of their truck has got about kind of tradie suicide awareness, which is amazing to kind of publicly be putting that out there. But what about mental health with you? Is what kind of have you noticed there with Carnivore?
Yeah, it's been a big one for me. I've been surrounded lately by mental health issues with friends and things like that. So for me personally, I think Carnivore it's allowing me to eliminate things which could have negative effects on my mental health. That's what I believe. And what I've actually noticed is my mental clarity is a lot more clear. My concentration levels are a lot better, specifically at work. So when I was at work and I was waiting out for lunchtime to come around and smoko to go buy a burger and chips and can of Coke or an iced coffee, my priorities were all wrong. And that, I think over time, that's going to have negative effects on anyone's mental health when the highlight of their day is just eating junk food and not the actual reason you're there. I think you really need to enjoy work because you're there most of your life. So have the right attitude to work, but you also need to set yourself up. And I think it starts with diet. And my mental health has seriously really, really improved since going carnivore. I'm not waking up lethargic. I'm not tired after lunch. I have energy at work. I'm focused. I'm getting more work done. I'm more productive. And I'm better communicating. And yeah, I just really think the value of work is going up when the value of the food is going down. Like the food isn't the priority at work. It should be work. Let's get the job done
Yep.
and let's work to the best of our ability instead of be worried about what are we buying for lunch, who's going to go get smoko, who's doing a KFC run. These sorts of discussions are like the very, very prevalent on most construction sites around Australia, I'd say, from what I've seen anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking off air just before we started recording, and you said that is a big part of your kind of day as a tradie with other tradies is actually just talking about what you're going to eat. rather than just getting on with the work, which is kind of crazy, really. So
Yeah, it really is.
So it sounds like, I mean, you didn't necessarily have anything necessarily kind of diagnosed in terms of mental health, but you just generally feel like it's just improved your mental health, more ability to concentrate, just maybe less stress, less fatigue, less tired, and then of course just more preventative, for mental health.
Yeah, I think more of a sense of I know it's going to be benefiting my mental health, even subconsciously. But the changes I'm noticing in energy and concentration, and I'm able to think clear and problem solve these sorts of things, and just my general interest in work. Like I feel like I'm more valuable and I'm on top of my game.
Just you feel like you're less stressed, better sleep, better concentration, and just really preventing, kind of mental health slipping. Look, maybe we have a lot of American listeners and viewers. They might not know what smoko is. Can you explain this Australianism to them?
Yeah, I can. Smoko is virtually. There's a couple of different versions. For some people, Smoko is just the first break of the day. If they have, say, two breaks in their working day, it'll usually be your first break at, say, morning tea, another word for morning tea. Or if you have the one break for the day, it'll just be your lunchtime break. Um, and yeah, that's what smoko is. It's just another word for a break. And it's probably just Australian slang for lunch, food, and also known as let's go buy some junk food. That's what smoko is.
Yeah, no, I just had a few comments. I think previously people were like, "What the hell is smoko?" So, yeah, it's basically just like it's just like a snack break,
Yeah.
isn't it? So, but you don't
Yeah.
smoke yourself.
No, I never smoked a cigarette before. Just it's just an environment thing. I was brought up to not be around it, or it's bad and gives you bad health
Mhm.
outcomes. And yeah, never interested in trying it.
Probably sensible.
But yeah, obviously a lot of tradespeople are
Mm.
smokers. Obviously, that does have negative impacts on their health. But I've seen people go through a whole pack of cigarettes in one shift.
Yeah, wow.
So
Yeah, no, that's a lot. What kind of like issues do you see then with other tradies? On the work site, is it really just around the diet food culture, or do you think there's other things that Carnivore kind of could be helping them with?
from what I've seen at a local level, personally, people that have poor diets, they usually are probably overweight or obese. I'd say, and this is the thing, there's a lot of tradies out there that look healthy and are very, very lean, but they eat McDonald's every day for smoko. So it's like it's hard to judge just based off weight if someone is optimal health has reached that level. And I think a lot of tradies, there's a correlation, I think, with their diet choices and their motivation, their concentration, their effort, their willingness to work hard, learn new things, problem solve. People that are stuck in the culture of junk food and takeaway, I think they lose that interest in developing because they don't even prioritize their own health. So while they prioritize someone else's business or work or other things like that, um, but also like physical things like joint pain, very common for tradies that are overweight to have joint pain, low mobility. They can't do basic movements like squats, bending down, back pain, knee pain. These sorts of things are very common for tradies to have or acquire. And I think a lot of it is just diet related. And the diet habits are set up from when they decide I want to be a tradesman and I'll get an apprenticeship. And then the people before them are usually handing down the baton, and the culture just keeps going and going and going. And you keep getting the same output from the workers because they're just not looking after themselves, which is having an effect on physical and mental health.
No, I think, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of tradies as patients, and I do see those issues. with them for sure. And that's kind of key. I was keen to get you on the show so I can then, show them, hey, look, there's a guy that's doing it. He's a tradie, he's one of you, he's on site and he's actually making it work. Maybe that's like a good kind of time to maybe talk about what do you actually do in terms of your day-to-day, diet wise?
So day to day at the moment, it has varied over the last 6 months. I'd say at the moment I'm really comfortable with one meal a day, um, and that usually happens around 4 to 5 o'clock at night after work. And I feel like while I'm at work, usually when after I eat, I'll get a little bit tired, so I try and stretch it out for as long as possible. Um, it's not torture; it's just personal preference. I like to sleep after I eat and relax and get ready for bed. So I usually try and stretch that out for as long as possible. But when I started, I was more eating like bacon and eggs for brekkie, and I was taking burgers for lunch in meal prep, and I'd buy rotisserie chicken on the run, these sorts of things or I'd even buy McDonald's burgers on the run. Just something I was eating a lot more frequently, but just a natural progression for me has been moving from listening to my hunger signals and my satiety feelings, and that's led me now to one meal a day, maybe 2 meals a day. I find when I'm working, I can stick to the one meal a day because I'm in a routine with not taking food to work, which is really, really convenient and great. And then you have to explain to everyone there why you're not eating and that you don't actually have a serious issue with eating and food. Um, that's the crazy part of the whole day. But yeah, it's really convenient. And then I'm usually having about a good amount of steak, and then a few eggs, about 4 or 5 o'clock at night now. On the weekends, I sort of lose that momentum because I'm not usually as busy. So I'll probably have like a lunch and dinner or brekkie and dinner or something like that. And the best part about it is I don't feel any guilt or shame or anything. If I want to eat, go to the fridge and have some more food or whatever. I just do whatever I want to do, and I don't have any guilt or shame, which is food freedom to me and something that I've never had before. So I'm really, really thankful that I've discovered it.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, food freedom is certainly a word we've heard, a phrase we've heard many, many times on this channel, and many others like it. I've used it many times myself as well. So interesting that you say there that, yeah, people kind of look at you like weird that you're not eating.
Oh, it's really, really bizarre. But this is the thing, like there will be 10 people in a row eating KFC, Subway, McDonald's, and then I'm the one that's weird because I'm not eating.
Yeah.
It's a crazy industry, and it's a crazy table to sit at when you have to explain, and you're literally like the clown of the table. You're making decisions with your
Yep.
diet.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? So, I mean, just kind of recap there. So basically, I mean, yeah, most of the time you're doing one meal a day. Otherwise, on the weekends, you're kind of just eating intuitively from the sound of it. If you're hungry, you eat. If you're not, you don't. Steaks, burger patties from home. If you're caught out, you just go to like your supermarket, rotisserie chicken, which isn't perfect, but better than like a KFC or something. And then just, yeah, like McDonald's patties,
Yeah,
basically. I mean,
definitely.
this is exactly what I tell patients, tradies, this is what you can do, and some of them actually do it, and they do really well. Others they're like, no,
Yeah,
I can't do
yeah.
it, And what advice would you give to other tradies that are maybe going to watch this and say, oh, I don't think I can do it?
I would. I'd probably just judge their personality first before giving them any advice. I think if they're very like negative towards change and uncomfortable with change and the idea of giving up sweet food, I'd probably um, encourage them to say, "Well, let's just give up takeaway, and or even like junk food takeaway, or just processed foods in general, and just go back to whole foods and get your sugars from your fruits and these sorts of things, honey, and you'll still." Um, like have those cravings, But you're eating a lot more better diet than what you were. I think if you eliminate ultra processed foods, you're going to have so many mental and physical health benefits. So I'd probably take that approach instead of ripping the band-aid off. But if it was someone sort of like me and sort of ready to go all in, just encourage them, righto, well, let's start tomorrow. Eat as much as you want, and here's a list of things you can do and eat. Eat as much as you like and go for your life. But yeah, it just sort of depends. But I think all tradies could definitely do it. There's not just because you're a tradie doesn't mean you can't do it. Um, but yeah, I think you need to have the right attitude to doing it. You need to know the why, and I think a lot of the tradies wouldn't have experienced a mental state that I have since being as a carnivore, because everyone lives on sugar and processed food, so they've never had the luxury to experience a mental state of clarity, and you can concentrate so much easier. You have natural energy. You feel great the whole day. You feel full for most of the day. It's hard to sort of spike someone's interest when they haven't had a taste. But yeah, I think if people do show a little bit of interest, I think you need to be careful on the approach that you take so you don't really scare them off straight away.
I think that's absolutely fair enough. Yeah, I would agree with all of that, entirely. Not to jump in and, scare people, but to just, try and work out maybe what their priorities are, and then, maybe chip away. You mentioned there like fruit and honey, and of course, poor salad, animal based diet. Do you eat that, or are you like strict carnivore?
Yeah, I don't eat that at all. And I haven't eaten that since I went carnivore. I had about a month off in between. I had a trauma event happen, and I was emotional eating and things like
Right.
that. And I gave myself a license to. It's either all or nothing for me, and I was in the nothing, so I gave myself a license to eat junk food, and obviously it had a serious effect on my mental health. I was drinking again, and um, everything was going downhill. I was putting on weight. I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't thinking clearly, and I just thought enough's enough one day, and that was it. And yeah, I intend to just maintain this for the long term as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly working for you from the sound of it. So
But yeah, I haven't included fruit or honey since I've been carnivore. I haven't felt the need to. I'm sort of trusting my body now to think if my body is craving it, or if my body tells me that I need it, now that I've got my sugar under control, I will eat it without feeling guilt. But I actually haven't had those feelings of, I think I really want to eat this. I just don't get that anymore. All I want to eat is fat steaks, lots of fat on it, and eggs with lots of butter, and it's crazy that that's all I'm craving at the moment. No fruit, no sugar. It is crazy to think that I was even capable, because I used to eat chocolate and ice cream multiple times a day. So
it's insane when we think about how much sugar we used to eat. And again, I was kind of talking to Mel, the dietitian, the other day on the show, and we were kind of working out, even like poor Saladino, and I know he gets a bad rap in the carnivore community, but even he's only eating like 250, 300 grams of sugar a day. Like standard Western diet, most people are probably eating like 600-700 grams of sugar a day.
really, that
Yeah,
much?
like I mean, the guidance is to get 70%, 65-70% of calories from carbohydrates, and four calories per. I mean, calories are not particularly useful, but if we just use them as a measure for now, calories per gram of carbohydrates. If you're eating like 3,000 say calories a day, like you're busy tradie on site, whatever, you need that energy. What's 65-70%? I mean, like 2/3 of that's 2,000. 4 grams, 4 calories per gram. That's 2,000 divided by 4. That's 500 grams of sugar. That's the recommendation, like half a kilo of sugar a day
That is absolutely
is
absurd, and it's no
is the
wonder.
recommendation. Like,
It's no wonder we have such. It's no wonder we have such negative health outcomes in society, and everyone is so sick.
I
It's
know.
like, are our bodies designed to handle this much of this substance. I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so.
so. I mean, even yeah, like if you listen to Saladino, it's like a couple of 100 grams, maybe at most. Like for most people,
Mm,
not the 4, 5, 600.
mm,
Like the government's kind of recommended. This is pretty much like all around the world. They're recommending
yeah,
this kind of figure, which is
yeah.
crazy. Why? Like why is this important? Why are you kind of trying to raise awareness of the kind of the poor health of tradies?
I think I've discovered something that can change people's lives, like it has changed my life. And what I'm surrounded with every day is tradies having no regard for their health. And what's important for me, what is such a big deal for me is because I see work as you should go to work. It shouldn't have any negative impacts on your health at all for when you're outside of work. Like you should be able to go to work, earn money, have a successful career, not to the detriment of your health. But I think a lot of people are choosing to have no regard for their nutrition, and it's going to have short term effects, deteriorating bodies, and long term health effects, aging, life expectancy, increased risks of diseases, all these things. And I think work should just be a place where you go, you work, earn your money, you learn, you progress through the ranks, um, you develop your skills, you develop as a person. Not you shouldn't be going backwards. And I think it starts with the things that we can control, and nutrition is something that we can control. And it's such a big deal for me because I'm around these people every day that are setting the standard for the new generation of people coming through. It's such a that when the kids are between the ages of 16 to 20, they're in that vulnerable mindset where they're very susceptible to creating bad habits for the long term. And I'm seeing kids in 2 to 3 years, say, put on 30, 40 kilos of body fat just from what they're eating at work. And then it's like, I feel like people that have been in the industry for a long time have a duty of care to change it and set the standard and say, just because this has happened in the past, this is not right. And it's not going to have positive health outcomes for you at
Mm.
all. And I think the kids deserve better. They deserve to see people that care and look about their health and about their work. And I think they go hand in hand. And very rarely I see someone care a lot about their work and then also about their health. But I feel like for me, making changes to my diet and health has made my care for work go through the
Mm.
roof, which is just amazing.
Yeah, I think very, very well said. Interesting you mentioned duty of care there. So you actually kind of feel like tradies who are on site who've been on the job a while actually almost have a responsibility to set a good example.
Definitely, yeah. I think these kids starting apprenticeships, they're gonna do what they're told. They're gonna follow the lead. Like they're not gonna come in and start doing whatever they like. They're very vulnerable. They're gonna be seeing what's happening and how you operate. And if they come into a business and see, oh, no one really wants to be here, but we're gonna make it exciting because we're gonna get KFC for lunch. It's just starting bad habits which are going to go on for a long time. And I've just noticed such a personal change for
Mm.
me, and I just want to express that to as many apprentices as possible. But I do think most of the industry isn't doing enough to start showing good habits and good healthy habits for long term. It's just isn't it doesn't come under anyone's a lot of people's interests at all, which is just hard to
Mm.
be around.
How can we change that?
Well, I think at schools and that, like they're at schools, they sort of seem to promote nutrition a lot more. And even when I was coming through school, nutrition was a massive thing. It might not have been the right information. It was probably more like sugar is energy and getting us hooked on sugar. But at least it was a conversation. I think at work, it's nutrition is never a conversation. It's not brought up. Alcohol's not brought up. Smoking's not brought up. These things are just part of the working tradie's life, and I don't think the conversations are had enough. And then as a result, all of these people are dealing with stresses of work, with having a cigarette, having a coffee, going to get KFC for lunch, and that's how they deal with the stresses of work instead of actually thinking about it with a clear frame of mind and rocking up to work with Red Bulls and Monster Energy drinks, and bosses giving their apprentices their card and saying, go and get us takeaway every day. It's like, we need to have some interactions, conversations, and like interventions. Like, can we have unions talking about these issues with healthy eating and good habits and prioritizing sleep? And they're all worried about OH&S and safe practices, but they're not talking about people eating themselves to diabetes and
Mm.
obesity and all these things. It's like, it should be just as important as how to walk up a ladder, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't balance properly, your autonomic system's out of whack, you're tired, you're stressed, like you can't properly climb a ladder anyway, regardless of your physical ability, to do so. So,
Mm.
so do you think it kind of needs to come from like on top, from like unions and reps and managers, or do you think it's more, needs to be like a groundswell from someone like you say, at lunchtime at Smoko saying, hey guys, look, I'm just eating a burger. Like, do you want to join me?
I think I can only influence so many people, you know. Like, I only reach 10 to 20 people a day I'm seeing every day, and I'm not going to have those conversations with everyone. The frustration might get to me enough one day where I just questions, like, usually a boss of a few apprentices, and just say, do you realize what you're doing to these kids? Like, they're just gaining weight by the day. They've got no motivation. They don't like their job, and their diet is just around junk food and energy drinks. It's like, but yeah, I think it has to come from above. I think people have to step in and start pushing these things like nutrition. Like, why can't we have days where we're not allowed takeaway on sites? Like, no one really cares at all. All the site bins are just full of rubbish and junk food wrappers and pizza boxes and Red Bull cans. It's like, someone has
Mm.
to just have these conversations and raise them in meetings and things like that, because nothing's really changing. Um, and I'm going to try and do my best to bring awareness
Mm.
to it, and hope that people do it does spark some people's interest, and then they can influence their little
Yeah.
small like social group as well. But it is I'm really influencing not many. That's a very, very big scale here. That's a massive issue, and it is
Mm.
frightening.
How is that received? When you're kind of saying, "Hey, do you maybe not want to eat garbage?" How is that received?
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Like, not great all the time, but when you, I've found when people say, "Why aren't you eating today?" It's like, "Oh, I eat carnivore." People are usually like, "Oh, you're an extremist. You've like lost the plot." But when I say, "Oh, I don't want to eat," I'm doing an elimination diet, so I'm not including processed foods. I'm eliminating ultra processed foods. I'm eating a whole food diet, so I'm just eating foods that are one ingredient off the land. That's more well received. And I think people, when they hear that, they probably think that's achievable if they just cut out food in
Mm.
a packet and with more than one ingredient. I think that's not as daunting, and people are more like, "Oh, okay." But when you mention something like a carnivore diet, it's easy for people just to say, "Oh, that's just a phase, a fad diet, extreme,
Mm.
unmaintainable," even though it really is serving me and maintainable for me. At the end of the day, it is a whole foods diet. That's what it is. And that's the way I do describe to some people, and have those conversations, more about the elimination side of things rather than focusing on the meat. Like, the meat's important, but it's just as important about what you're not including, and the side effects of our standard diet.
Yeah, I mean, it is a whole food diet, and it is a whole food, non-processed, no junk diet. It's also just like a no sugar, no plant diet. So, but yeah, could say talk about carnivore in air quotes. It's like, oh, it's so extreme, and like I can't do that, and if you just say, yeah, I just kind of eat mostly meat, just don't eat much other stuff, they're like, yeah, okay, cool, move on. They
Yeah,
don't really question it.
yeah,
I'm keen to know.
yeah,
We were talking a little bit before we started recording off air about the role of a doctor and so on. Have you seen a doctor? Did you
yeah.
discuss this with anybody beforehand? Have you had any blood tests?
Yeah, I did. Because when I was sort of a few months in, I was having all of the family's concern, and everyone close to me was just like, we can see you're thriving, we can see you're happy, we can see you're healthy, and you're losing weight, you're looking a lot better. But what about cholesterol? What about heart disease? All these things that have been instilled into us, which is very dangerous. And all of these people that have been told they've lost friends due to high cholesterol, and they've had family members die of high cholesterol and things like that. And that's the only factor. So I went and got blood tests after doing a lot of research on carnivore blood test results. And I went and I went to the doctor, ordered blood tests. I just said I want a general blood test, and then named a few things I definitely wanted, like a HbA1c and a few other things, testosterone, a few other things that I can't think of right now. And I went away, and I got an email saying the doctor wants you to come in immediately to discuss some results. And I said I didn't know that was part of it. I just wanted him to send me the results. I assume that's what I paid for. And then the lady on the phone said, "Oh, the doctor, we don't send results. We only discuss with the client or the patient face to face." And she said he was insisting on seeing you to discuss some potentially dangerous markers. And I argued, I said, "I'm not interested. Please, can you just send me the results?" And then the doctor just sent me the results to my email. And I learned how to read blood tests. So the things in bold were virtually out of the safe category. And yeah, the cholesterol was above. And there was a couple other things that were above. And then I just correlated that with what other doctors are saying, like Ken Berry and all those sorts of things. And they said, you don't have anything to worry about. And here I am.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they are probably going to want to discuss it with you because I mean, like most doctors play devil's advocate slightly. They're not going to really know what's going on with these blood tests. They're just looking their usual kind of lens, which is just, well, high cholesterol causes heart disease, and it doesn't. But that's their lens, that's their training, so that's going to be their kind of mentality. But so you didn't tell the doctor that you were carnivore, or you just said just want to check up? And
I did, yeah. When I saw him, I said, "Oh, I've changed my diet. I just want to get tests just to make sure everything's still great."
Did you say?
And then he knew
did you say you were carnivore?
No, I didn't want to bring that word up. I just said I've changed my diet. I just want to check my blood tests. I've never had a blood test to this extent before, just to see where I'm at, because I was interested in my readings, like testosterone, those sorts of things. Yeah. And then it's a good baseline, I think. Like in another year, I'll probably go get more done and just see how high risk of heart disease I am or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, heart disease is no laughing matter, of course. But the traditional thinking that cholesterol causes heart disease is probably not actually true. But yeah, I mean, things like testosterone, I mean, these are really important. I mean, I really wish more men would get them tested. I really, carnivore or not, I really do wish more men would get them tested. Pretty much just like a routine test that I do for men. Even women, to be fair, I check testosterone for women as well. Still really important for them. But especially for men, I mean, it's just pretty much a routine test that I do because low testosterone is associated with so many problems, and everyone's walking around with low testosterone.
Yeah. And what do you think the main some of the main factors are in the declining rate?
That's a very good question. I don't know exactly. It's kind of not really been studied other than just the statistic that it's falling by 1% every year, 50% in 50 years. It's now
Yeah.
60% in 60 years. But if we look at what reduces testosterone and then what can increase testosterone in men, and it's the same pretty much in women when it comes to their hormones as well, testosterone and estrogen and progesterone. So things that reduce the kind of the free hormone levels, that's the most important part. The free testosterone is, grains, vegetables, they increase SHBG. More fiber can increase SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin, that reduces your free kind of sex hormones. So more vegetables, more fiber, more grains, these all reduce free testosterone. Polyunsaturated fatty acids reduce testosterone. So we're told, of course, to consume seed oils. We're told American Heart Association, British Heart Foundation, Australian Heart Foundation, they're all telling us to consume seed oils, despite overwhelming evidence that they are harmful for us. And they also reduce testosterone levels as well, specifically. And that's not just from seed oils, that's polyunsaturates. So polyunsaturates in chicken, polyunsaturates in pork. Now, those are fed grain and soy,
Yep.
so they're accumulating a lot of polyunsaturated, linoleic acid, which is then we're
Yeah. Right.
consuming. So now this move from red meat towards white meat, chicken has gone up, red meat's gone down
Yep.
significantly. More grains, more
Yep.
vegetables, etc. As I said, we're all deficient in zinc. That's very, very common. We know zinc can increase testosterone. That's why oysters are meant to be an aphrodisiac. They're very high in zinc, gives you testosterone levels. We're not sleeping enough. Sleep is a big deal. We really should be getting 8 hours plus a night. Now, I'm definitely guilty of that. My 5-month-old does not want to sleep at all. I've got 4 kids, and between them all, sleep is a challenge, but I try.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
not getting enough sun. Sunlight is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't got the reference in front of me. I
Yeah.
can maybe put it in the episode description, but there's a study from 1939 where they looked at the testosterone from UV light. And this is the one that Paul Saladino talks about. And, they took 34 something, I think, patients who were in a hospital, mental hospital, I think it was. So they had like bipolar, schizophrenia, other things like that. And they all had low testosterone. And what they found was 5 minutes to 20 minutes a day of UV exposure actually increased serum. It was androsterone, which is a breakdown product of testosterone, but it's been repeated a few times, and they do show it. Sunlight does increase, testosterone levels. And what they found was that the chest and the back was about the same. And off the top of my head, I'd have to double check it. Fact checkers out there on YouTube can let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Was I think between 3 and 5 times baseline increase from chest and back exposure for 20 minutes. And genital exposure was, I think, almost double that again for the same length of time. So this is where the whole sunning your balls comes from. So do what you want. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Just don't do it down a local park. And but we don't get the sun. Especially here in Australia. I've spoken about this before on the channel. Again, the slip, slop, slap. Cover up, sunscreen, wear a hat, never see the sunshine. Never go outside. This is also a problem. We've all got low vitamin D. That leads to low testosterone, and of course, the other big one is reduction in intake of dietary cholesterol and saturated fat. And we know this also reduces, testosterone as well. So there's all sorts of things. Most of it dietary.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of those things have deteriorated over time, like sleep and sun exposure, I'd say, have definitely just decreased as we've gone through time. And it seems like things, if we just get back to our roots and our natural way of living, will see definitely improved health
We
outcomes.
do. It's actually very simple. I mean, I as a lifestyle physician, as you know, as a GP as well, I tell my patients, yeah, reduce stress, sleep, play, have fun, listen to music, dance, sing, exercise, work out, just don't work 24/7. Actually go to sleep, turn your phone off at nighttime, and all
Yeah.
these natural things, grounding, earthing, getting the feet on the ground, and all these things. It's all just natural living. It's not it's not rocket science. It's very straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah. And if people just start implementing these simple practices into their day to day life, they'll definitely see some improvements to their health. But it's also just going back a few generations where it was normal life for most
Yep.
people once upon a time. So you're getting a taste for what the potential you could actually get to if you keep pursuing these little investments in your health.
Absolutely right. And we don't have to live like we lived 100, 150 years ago. We don't need to shun technology or get rid of our iPhones or, turn the TV off all the time
Mm,
and live in a cave. No, but we need to get back to a more natural existence.
yeah, because I think definitely our diet has gone down the wrong road for people's health and lost what's important. And I think diet has been pushed to the side as not really an important priority for health, which it really is. I've found for me
Yep.
personally the main
It is.
ingredient,
It's,
but then
mm,
also you've got so many other aspects as well which you can go on about. But I think diet's something the easiest that we can control at least.
it is actually within our power to control fairly easily,
Mm,
and yeah, it's not always easy to reduce
mm,
stress or reduce work hours. Sleep sometimes again isn't easy to just kind of fix like that. Um, but diet actually is within our power quite easily if we just
yeah,
have a little bit of motivation and power,
yeah,
knowledge that we can
yeah,
actually take control of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is made hard because we're all of us are surrounded by the standard culture, so it can be challenging to want to do something different. You're going to be judged. You're going to at social situations. You're going to there might not be anything for you to eat. It is a hard thing to think about, but by all means, it's not challenging, and you work it out. And once you see the benefits, you really would struggle to go back to anything
Yeah.
else.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. But yeah, unfortunately, some people, they're not ready for change. They're not ready to kind of take
Mm,
the red pill, they're still in the blue pill. They want to be back in the matrix, and
yeah,
show my age now with the matrix. But yeah, some people
yeah,
they're just, they don't know that they can actually be healthy. And that's sad. That's really sad.
yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah. It really is sad, and I see it every day at work. And people don't know what health is, and it's not a priority of theirs. A priority is getting paid and getting the hell out, and if it means treating yourself with energy drinks and sugary drinks and takeaway and junk food, then it is what it is, and that's the reality for most people. And it is sad to see because they don't know what they're missing out on. And I just can't understand why you would go to work at a detriment to your own health. It just doesn't make sense to me. And once upon a time it did because I was following the crowd, and that is what it is. But I hope that some people can hopefully come across me online or
Mm,
whatever and show an interest and hopefully influence others. And it doesn't have to be, carnivore diet or you're unhealthy. Just eliminate ultra processed foods and watch your body repay you with good health. It'll happen overnight.
yeah. I think that's very, very good advice, that it doesn't have to be carnivore diet. It doesn't have to be perfection. It just has to be an improvement, and just start
Mm,
making small changes. I mean, speaking of obviously finding
Mm.
you online, I mean, I know I've got your social details. I'll put them in the episode description. But how can I bash the microphone? How can people find you online if they are wanting to connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram, the Carnivore Tradie, without the. So I think it's just Carnivore Tradie. Um, and it's a very fresh account. It's just sort of a way. I think I have a lot of information bottled up inside of me, and it's a way for me to be able to express myself, my beliefs, my experience, and hopefully I can connect with other tradies that are also making educated decisions with their health, and hopefully we can try and influence others. And I really want to make it a more um, health first environment for the kids and apprentices coming through the ranks, and I think they deserve to be in an environment where people do prioritize their health, because what I've seen, it's really at the bottom of the list, and it's sad and obvious when you go along to these job sites and you see people with a list long of health conditions, medications, addictions. It's really, really sad, and um, I hope that I can hopefully encourage people to spark an interest in making changes, or just getting in touch and finding out how I do it and why I do it and the benefits, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Carnivore Tradie, just on Instagram, and shoot us a message if you are a tradie, and keen to connect with as many as possible, because I feel like I'm running my own race at the moment, but I'm sure there's other people out there that are interested in making changes, because I can't recommend it enough. And it's the best thing I've ever done. It is life
Mm-hmm.
changing. And personally, to be able to control my addiction, which is food and sugar, it's really is
Yeah.
food freedom. So yeah, get in touch.
No, perfect. I mean, I've put a thing across the bottom. Hopefully people can see it kind of scrolling across at Carnivore Tradie. I'm not sure what you can see on the screen on this thing on StreamYard, but
Yeah, I can
just
see that
ticking
too.
across the bottom
Yeah.
there.
Thanks to the Thanks for the
Oh no,
publicity
look, you're
there.
welcome. I mean, like anything that we can do to spread the message. That's the whole point of this podcast. That's why I made
Mm,
it. To spread the message that
mm,
just diet is important, that nutrition actually matters, and it's not that
mm,
hard to actually be healthy. Anything that we can do to spread that
mm.
message, and anyone that I can get on the show to spread that message, then it's always a win for me. And
Yeah.
even if I didn't have any listeners, like just actually talking to people like yourself it just makes me happy that some people out there are actually getting this, that
Mm,
yeah, it's actually important and it does make a difference. And hopefully you will make a difference to other tradies out there if you just keep kind of talking about it, not maybe blasting it in their face, but yeah, just keep leading by example and just showing them, look, I'm getting healthy, I'm doing good, I feel great. It's 5 o'clock, I'm on the tools, I'm still just bam, 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 ready to go. And you're all just like dying over
mm,
there and I'm still ready to
mm.
go. Hopefully then maybe, yeah, just the message will get out that, hey, we can actually be
Yeah.
healthy.